Okay, so Felicia and I went out for lunch, which we don't really do that often. And I'll just give you a little quick clip of that. Needless to say, that was a funny time. I had actually wanted a white sangria. I don't know why I've wanted that because I don't really drink, but every once in a while, oh, white sangria sounds good. So they didn't have that, obviously, from the clip I shared. But anyway, I digress. Welcome to Tea and Banter with me. It's me, Mary Elizabeth. I'm home, relaxing now. But I wanted to give mid-month update on my reading. On series in romance. And so if you see me look this way, it's because I have some notes on my computer. Because I actually did read a lot. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books in the past 2 weeks. So that's not too bad. So the first series I want to talk about is the Wolf Hotel series. And the reading order, so the first book should be technically Tempt Me, but there is a prequel book called Ronin, and basically you don't have to read that to read the series and still, get everything you need to. But Rowan and Connor, who is in the Rowan book, are side characters. They are good characters. You kind of want to know more about them. So I actually am hoping that K.A. Tucker gives them their own books. I think that would be really great. But so the premise of the Rowan book is that Rowan meets Connor. They both work for Wolf Hotel in Miami, I believe. And they get the opportunity to go to Alaska, where Henry Wolf is going to open a hotel there. So, and it's their weight to go there, their personalities, they're partying young men. And there is a little romance there. Nothing major. Like I said, it's more like a quick shot novella to just kind of wet your teeth before you get into the series. So I recommend reading that. I thought it was fun. It was, like I said, there are two characters that I think add to the series. So I was happy with that completely. The next book, so the first technical book in this series is called Tempt Me. And this is about Henry Wolf, who, like I said, is wanting to open up a hotel in Alaska. And the girl's name, oh God, why can't I remember her name? Is, for the life of me, is Abby. That's what it is. Her name's Abigail, but she doesn't like to be called Abigail. She likes to be called Abby. And she actually gets the opportunity to go and work for the Wolf Hotel in Alaska. She believes she's going out there to work on the outdoors, the gardening, and etc. And a mistake is made, and she is put into housekeeping, which she doesn't want to do. She even says she doesn't know how to make beds or things like that. So basically what ends up happening is she has a little too much to drink one night and meets the owner, Henry Wolf, and she doesn't know that. And she just starts talking about her ex and things that happen, whatever. So in the end, this is how the relationship ends up blossoming, where he ends up taking her on as his assistant. So that is kind of the premise. This first book is setting it all up. He's a moody guy, and she's not experienced. She's young, and she doesn't know really his world. So that's the first book, Tempt Me. The second book is Break Me. And naturally, things go awry. And part of that is due to there is a fight over inheritance, ownership, you could say, over the hotels between Henry and his brother Scott. And also, Henry has been accused of some things, and he's trying to clear his name in order to keep ownership of the hotels. And so his father will end up making the final decision. So that ends up happening, and Henry finds himself under a lot of stress. And Abby, she is very insecure, and compares herself to other women, not only working there, but women that Henry is seen with or has previously been seen with. She clearly has trust issues based on previous experiences. So it ends up being a tragic time for this couple. So that is basically a little breakdown, if you will. Pardon the pun. The next book is Teach Me. And that one is he starts to explain to her a little bit about his world and bringing her in. And also there is some mystery to this story as well, because Henry's father has cancer and he's dying, and then some different information comes to light, and so there is a kind of investigation, kind of mystery going on. I really enjoyed that, as well as the romance. And these books also talk about, which I really liked, is friendships, but also male and female friendships that can just be friendships, although in these books, I guess you would call it friends with benefits, is probably more accurate, but they clearly care about each other. And so anyway, that's how the side characters are kind of important in the story and things that happen. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really good one. And then the last one to that series is Surrender to Me. And again, I hope it's not the last. I hope that Connor and Rowan get a full book, but I'm not sure about that. And this is really the start of Henry being in control of things, and dealing with his issues with his brother, as well as the accusations against him. It's kind of tying it all up, all the loose ends, as well as fortifying his relationship with Abby, whether together or not. But it is a happy ending. They do get there happily ever after. It is spicy. Rowan and Connor, they bring the humor, so I would highly recommend these books. And again, the author is K.A. Tucker. So I thought that that was a good start to what I have. the next series I have is Kylie Kent. This is the Sons of Valentino series. I usually, actually, have I ever? Let me think a second. I don't think I have. I haven't read any mafia romances, so this is my first time reading mafia romances, and I have to say I loved it. So the first book, these are the Sons of Valentino series. The first book is Relentless Devil, and this is about Theo, who is the underboss. He's the next in line to take over for his dad in the mafia, and he falls for Maddie, who is a young woman who works in a coffee shop, and Theo goes in and she bumps into him, knocks, because she's running late for her job in the coffee shop, and she knocks the coffee down his and basically she grabs him by the hand, pulls him to a stool, not even realizing that he's got guards behind him. She starts getting a cloth, trying to clean the suit for him. She makes him another coffee, and the whole time he's just watching her and looking at her, you know, sideways, like she has no clue. And that's basically their introduction. Maddie is working 2 jobs. She works in the coffee shop and she works in a bar room at nighttime because her parents were killed in a car accident. And she has a sister who needs a kidney transplant, and so she's trying to take care of her and keep a roof over their head and medical bills and all of that. So it is about their romance, and Theo kind of learns a lesson or two because, of course, he's used to getting everything he wants and getting his own way, and so he goes to the bar and he basically propositions her and is not expecting her to turn around and slap him across his face. And it just shocks him that she would do that, and she gives him a menu and says, "This is what you can order from. I am not on the menu." And so it's a really good good series. There's, you know, it's that thing that I love about books often is the gray areas, that these are really bad guys and they do really bad things, but they also love dearly, and the ones that they love they will do anything for. And you know, again, not that it's okay, but it's just, it's really good. And so the next one is Merciless, and this is Mateo and Savannah, and Mateo is the next son in line, and Savannah is his best friend. And a lot of this series is based on a few Italian mob families and a Russian mob family, and naturally there are conflicts between the groups, and there is some revenge things happening, and kind of you know, maintaining control, I guess, maintaining control over your businesses you have going on, the area of which you're from, the people that you have in your group, that sort of thing. And they end up going, the Russian mob ends up going after Savannah, based on an event that happened in the first book. So it's kind of a revenge for a revenge for a revenge kind of series. And again, it's that gray area of, is this the way you would normally handle it? No. Are they handling it feeling just as things happen to other people, that's what they're basing it on. And what the other people or other groups are doing is not much better. And they do go after Savannah, and it's kind of how they end up getting together, because Savannah and Mateo have been best friends since they were 6 years old. They both love each other very dearly, but Savannah has a really hard time thinking about committing to Mateo with the work that he does. And so that kind of is the premise of this book, and things that happen to them is what drives their decisions to either be together or not. So it's really good. And there are people that you really love and people who you really hate. And that is in the next book, which is Solace. And Solace is, so there's Theo, Mateo, and then there's the twins, which is Romeo and Luca. In Solace, it is Romeo, and he falls in love with Olivia, whose father is a retired policeman, and she is kind of like a tutor to everybody else. He's also very smart, and he falls in love with her, and she is just so sweet. I love her. She's one of my favorite characters. And Romeo, he's quite funny. But two of the Russian mafia ends up attacking Olivia sexually. And it's all about how to survive that kind of trauma, what she goes through, how she deals with it. Not everybody deals with it the same, but in this story, it's how she deals with it, and it's how Romeo deals with them and what happens from that. And Romeo is Romeo. He, a lot of people who have been sexually abused often feel dirty and worthless, and don't want to be touched anymore or participate in any intimate activities. And there are people out there that don't understand and don't have the patience for that. And then there's people who really do. And Romeo is one of those people that really does. He's there for her. He's conscious of what's happening around her. So, for example, he ends up taking her to his place and puts her in his room. He sleeps on the couch, but in the interim, he's having all her things moved to his house because he doesn't want her alone anymore. She's too scared. They have broken into her place several times, and so his brother is also there. And when the movers start bringing the stuff in, he says, "You can just leave it all right here." And his brother says, why don't you just have them put him in the room? And Romeo's response is, "I am not going to have men walking in Olivia's room, strange men walking into Olivia's room. I don't care what they're doing." And the brother kind of, it clicked. And so I just thought, he even thinks of those little things that we take for granted as being okay, but knowing that she's going through that time. I don't know. I just thought that was really special. So that is that one. There is one more, and it is, let's see, after Solace, it is, I believe, Reckless. And Reckless is Luca's book, but I've just started that. I haven't finished that, so that will have to go in probably my end of the month wrap up. So But I am looking forward to that. And at the end of Solace, there is kind of an event that is really kicks off for Reckless Devil in the series. It's kind of like your little cliffhanger, so to speak, to the book. So that's really exciting. So yeah, so I highly recommend Sons of Valentino. They're a lot of fun. I was very surprised because, like I said, I have never read mafia books or mafia romance. So yeah. The next series is Sarah Kate Salacious Players Club. I believe I have one more to read and then I'll be caught up on that series. But so the books in that series is Praise, which I read a while ago. And that is Emerson, who kind of is the main lead of creating the club with a few other members. And it's a sex club. It's called Salacious Players. So the next book is Eyes on Me, and this is Garrett's book. And Garrett, the heroine is Mia, and they are step brother and sister romance. Mia's father is married to Garrett's mother, and Mia and Garrett do not get along. The thing about this book that I really loved is it addressed some mental health issues, depression mainly, and Garrett has depression. He goes into a spiral. He goes really, really high where he's really, really happy, and then he goes really, really low. And that is part of what has put a wedge between him and Mia's relationship, because he always tried to play it off that he was fine, and he would play jokes on her that weren't always so funny for her. He would argue with her and just, try to make off that he was fine no matter what, but in fact he wasn't, and he would have trouble. And it was nice in this book that I kind of saw it a little bit in the first book, in Emerson's book Praise, but it didn't touch upon it. It didn't address Garrett having a problem. In this book, it does address that Emerson is aware of Garrett's depression, and in fact, in one of the scenes, Garrett calls himself a piece of basically crap, and Emerson immediately steps in and says, "Don't ever say that again. You are not." And he kind of tries to get him to have a more positive thinking and talking about himself. And he doesn't really he wants to be with Mia. They do have the same interests in the club of what they want to do, and so they're compatible, but Garrett doesn't have the skills to communicate with Mia the way he would like to. He doesn't want to show her that side of himself because I think he's afraid of how she will take it, as well as he doesn't want her to suffer or to be stuck with it. And so he goes about trying to maintain a relationship through an online thing and pretends to be someone else, actually one of the other friends, and where he can actually talk to her honestly, but then when they're face to face, he's not good at it. And so what happens when she finds out it's really him, how it comes out about his problem and how she deals with it. It really is a great book. I think that Sarah Kate did a good job on the topic, even though it's kind of a a spicy book. The next one I read was Give Me More, and this is about Hunter, Drake, and who's the girl again? I'm looking it up because I forget her name, to be perfectly honest. And all these books I've read on the Kindle. They did not come off my bookshelves. The Valentino Sons that I talked about just previously, I believe I would own those and put them on my shelf. I do own Praise. So it's definitely a possibility. Isabel is the female, so it's Drake, Hunter, and Isabel's story. And it is a love story absolutely between all three for each other. But Hunter and Isabel are husband and wife, and how love doesn't always, how they struggle with loving each other, and how they make that come about and happen. I actually cried in this book, which I was very surprised. Drake is a character I really, really like. He tries to always do the honorable thing. He would rather lock his feelings away than hurt anybody. And so and I think Hunter tends to do that as well. But Isabel is not stupid by any means. And so I think that she ends up being the glue that helps all of them come together and be a family unit. So that was that one. That's really good. The next one is Mercy, and that is about Kyle. Kyle, is that his name? And he is Emerson's son. So if you're familiar with this series, in the first book, Emerson ends up with, is it Kyle? I think it is Kyle. Like I said, I have some notes here that I'm looking at so I don't mess it up. No, it's Bo. I don't know where I got Kyle from. His name is Bo. So in the first book, Praise, Bo breaks up with his girlfriend Charlotte, and actually it's Emerson who ends up with Charlotte. This book is about Bo. Bo is seen throughout all of the books as a troublemaker, as a brat. He just tends to be argumentative, make rude comments. He can get in a little bit of trouble. And again, this is another book that makes you second guess your perceptions because, oh, I'm sorry, I hit the camera. So in this book, Bo is really struggling. He is dealing with his mother, who constantly belittles Emerson, the father. He gets kind of picked on from school and everything because of his dad and his dad's business. He doesn't know why he can't maintain a relationship with a girl, and him and Charlotte did not work. And what you find is, again, their tastes. So Charlotte's taste and Bo's tastes are the same, but they don't work because they need a different component in order to work. So in Mercy, Bo finds that it is, what is her name? It's not Maggie. Is it Maggie? Yes, it's Maggie, who is partners with Emerson in this club business. And she also has been hiding who she is. And so they decide, Bo and Maggie decide, that they're going to learn together. It's in the beginning, it's not a relationship based. It's just learning different things together and learning about who you are. But of course, that doesn't stay that way. And but it's a nice transformation where you get to understand Bo, and you get to understand that although his actions weren't correct, he does have a good heart. He does have, he does know he wants to forgive. He does know that he isn't doing the right thing all the time. And now with Maggie, sometimes he doesn't want to do the right thing, and that's just kind of the fun stuff. So I highly recommend that. The last one in this series is called The Highest Bidder. And this is a one of the oldest members of the club, and actually I believe he also owns, yes, he also owns one in one of the clubs in Paris. And he had fallen in love years ago, but the woman had come there to, I believe it's Las Vegas. I could be wrong of where the club is. And anyway, they had met, they had fallen in love, but she was there on a business vacation thing or whatever, and she needed to return home because she has a daughter. And basically what she was basically saying, and he is a workaholic, it's his business, he can't leave these businesses, so they break. But they had really loved each other. But he wants to give her money, she will not take it, and so he gives her $1 million for her daughter, to be able to go to college, open a business, do what she wants to do, buy a house, whatever, when she's older. So years later, the mother has passed away, and the daughter gets this inheritance, and she doesn't know who this man is. And so she goes in search of him. She gets a van. She doesn't spend any of that money. So she's basically living in her van, and she gets a job at the club as a waitress because she finds out that he's part owner, and he goes in there, and she kind of wants to ask him these questions. But what happens is she makes a bet with another bartender. So they have a bidding night to have an hour with a date to raise charity money. And so she thinks he's going to bid on this blonde bombshell or whatever. And the bartender says he's not going to. And the winner, the loser has to go up and be someone you bid on. So she accepts, and then he doesn't bid on the blonde, so now she has to go up there, and he ends up bidding on her. And so that's the beginning of their relationship. And the nice thing about that is there's a lot of, she is much younger, and they end up doing a lot of healing together. Her healing and dealing with death, him healing and dealing with that he lost in love, and he does love her, but that has kind of put a wrench in things, and so yeah, this was a good one too. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a good read. But I would say this one was my least favorite. So then I have one single book that I will own, and it is called Hawk by Jessie Hall. Let me just tell you, I love Hawk. So this book is about I can't remember the names. Hold on one second. I'm going to try to find it in my notes here. because I did have it. I guess maybe I don't. I thought I did. Here it is. So it is, the reason why I'm looking it up, because I want to get the names right. Okay, so the girl is Nicole, and she is in a relationship with, what is his name? Patrick. So Nicole and Patrick are living in this house. Patrick comes from a wealthy family, and he travels a lot working for his father. But and that leaves Nikki home alone a lot. But then one day she is sleeping and she hears this noise, and she gets up and she goes into the other room, and Hawk is in there with a young lady doing what they're doing, and she totally loses it. What are you doing in my house? And he says, what are you doing in my house? And that is the premise of how this book starts. And this was a trip, let me tell you. And Hawk, awesome guy, and definitely worth the read. Him and Nikki are just as sweet as can be, and there's some mystery in there. There's definitely discrepancies in class. There is some, I would call it a little verbal abuse, or at least keeping your thumb on someone so that they can't grow and speak up, and it's kind of what you say goes kind of thing. As well as the family feeling that way too, like you have to present yourself and be this way and do this. So there is all that, but it's very juicy, very romantic, it's action-packed. I will definitely own this book, and I highly recommend it. I would say so far, Hawk is probably my favorite out of everything I've read. And then it would go The Sons of Valentino as my second favorite. Or maybe the Wolf Hotel series. And they're a tie. I'm just going to go with that. But anyway, so that's what I've read so far. It's a little wrap up. I know this video is kind of long. I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to give you that update, and I will put a picture in of the books. I'll try to put them in somewhere or in the thumbnail so that you can see them. I have not mastered how to put the pictures in my video to be able to go like this. That's gonna be a work in progress, I guess. But anyway, I don't think that these books are not new, so they are out there anyway, and you probably may have already read them. If you have, leave a comment in the description below. Did you like them? Did you not like them? And yeah, so if they aren't books that you heard of, I would say pick them up. You just might enjoy them. But until next time, I hope that you're all safe, and I hope you're all loved.